Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have kids, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It is good to see you this morning. Welcome to my home, welcome to the office, and welcome to the morning grind. So it's good to be here this morning. I've got coffee. It's cold this morning. I've got warm coffee today, cultist coffee even this morning. So today, trying to warm up the hands, and warm up the soul. So this has turned into be quite an epic series on Shadowdark character creation, creating Shadowdark characters. Not our longest series here on the Morning Grind, but this has certainly been going for a while, but it's been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying creating all these characters and the conversations that we have in the back and forth. It's just been a lot of fun. So we're going to keep going today. I do need to go ahead and get these done because I want to get them imported into the VTT for ability to play to play with. So we're going to see how much we can get done today. Let's see. I forgot to bring up my different YouTube channels. In fact, well, let me just go ahead and do this. For some reason, my mouse is just not working very well at the moment. So, but let's see who we got here. We got Inner Light. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Sable. And I see we're having a conversation, BGD, about goblins here. I want to chime in on that in just a moment. Welcome. Hardly Paranormal is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. So let's get to goblins here in just a moment. But let me come over here. Oh, where's my mouse? What is wrong with my mouse? Hold on. Let me swap out mice. If I see my secondary mouse. Well, I'm not sure. Well, this is inconvenient. All right. Go with what we got. Let's see here. Last night, we had a fantastic conversation on The Watchmen. Over on Table Talk. So here's the link over here to Table Talk, and it's a direct subscription link. So if you are not part of Table Talk yet, we're still trying to build over there on Table Talk. So please do come over and be a part of the Table Talk channel. Doug and Brianna and I were planning last night more shows, topics that we want to cover. We only have Brianna fortnightly. And so there are a lot of topics that we want to cover with her, but also guests that we want to get. Here we go. So we were trying to plan out deep conversations in the Geekverse and the kinds of things that we want to cover and the kinds of guests that we want to be sure to have. So we covered The Watchmen last night. There we go, past live streams. The Watchmen right there. And it was a great conversation. We talked about American archetypes, character archetypes. We basically did the stream as a psychological study of all the different characters and their particular philosophies toward life and society. So The Watchmen, I highly recommend that conversation. I had been watching and I watched a little bit more of it, the motion comic that's here on YouTube. And been enjoying that. But this is primarily about the movie. So we've got that going on. And then also, come on in to the Cultists. Wish my mouse worked. Once we get this coffee shop off the ground, it's going to be all about the Cultists. We got some game design we're going to do for the Cultists. Brianna and I will be working this afternoon on that kind of material as well. So let's see, let's come over here and... she's working on the graphic design for the Cultists games. She's really been helping me out. I wish my mouse was actually responsive. I'll fix that in a moment. So if you want to see what Brianna and I can do, Brianna and I wrote the Cultists. Brianna and I are the co-writers. I'm the creator. We're the co-writers. Then I produced it and she directed it. And it's a mockumentary style show about Lovecraftian cultists. And I'm on a race against time. I'm bleeding time. This is already the 10th of January. Where did 2004 go? This is already the 10th of January. I have not gotten nearly enough stuff done here at the 10th of January. And I am on a race against time if there's going to be a Cultist Season 3. We've got to make some magic happen, but that means some stuff has got to get done. So that's what's going on here. Hey, if you want to play Shadowdark with us, I'm getting this set up so that it will be in a virtual tabletop situation, and then also be in our virtual coffee shop, the gaming tavern. I was calling it the gaming tavern over here, but we coffee shop tavern. I've been calling it coffee shop now, but the same kind of thing. So if you are here with us and you want to be able to play, I'm getting it set up over here. That's the form to say, hey, I'm interested, and I'll get you on the list. It hasn't launched yet, but we'll be launching soon. I got to get Shadowdark built in, and then I'm going to run a test with some people, maybe about 10 people, and then hopefully it'll all go well, and then we'll open it up, and we'll have an environment where we can all get together and play games virtually. Playing with your friends, that's best, but there's a lot of games to play, and often more games to play than friends we've got or friends who can get together regularly. So the second best thing would be to play online. All right. Let's go ahead and jump in to our morning reading. Let's see. Good morning, Stray. We got Stray here. Good morning, Stray. Oh, did I say 2004? Did I say 2004? Where did 2004 go? Man, 2024. Yes, I'm really behind. Oh, MZ. Yes, MZ was there with the Watchmen last night. MZ, thank you so much for being there, MZ. We had a lot of new people on Table Talk last night. It was great seeing new people in the comments. If you haven't been on a Table Talk before, we oh, and also the Discord. Thank you, Stray, for posting the Discord link. If you haven't been on a Table Talk, the comments are fantastic. That's why we enjoy doing it live so much, because there's so much dialogue also in the comments. And so I really appreciate your being here. The comments are a really major part of Table Talk. Hey, Zero the Blade. All right. Let's do our morning reading here. If you're new here, we do have a little bit of a reading every morning to kind of focus ourselves on creativity and have a little bit of thoughts of self-improvement, how we can improve ourselves, because I know there are a lot of creative people around here who want to get stuff done. I'm working on the obsession strategy for getting stuff done. I didn't get as much stuff done yesterday because I had to prepare for the Watchmen. Brianna and I had a meeting yesterday. She and I are getting back to our regular meeting after the holiday weekly meeting about talking about getting creative stuff done and keeping ourselves on task. So we did that, and then I had to prepare for the Watchmen. So now we're about to get to power into this virtual coffee shop. Okay, so we did this moment of turning pro. Let's do our breathe and sip. Everybody got your favorite coffee or favorite drink this morning? Doesn't matter what it is. I've got some coffee. I think this is rich and bold flavored right here. So I got my coffee this morning. Let's take 2 deep breaths and then complete exhales. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. 2 inhale, 2 deep breaths. Complete deep breaths, 2 deep breaths, complete exhales, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage this morning. So here we go. Everybody do it together. Everybody, some of you out there aren't doing it. Everybody together now. Our moment of meditation and mental health. Breathe in. And sip. Ah, that's great. That's great. All right. Stephen Pressfield, Turning Pro, our reading for this morning. The nature of epiphanies. We usually think of breakthroughs as ecstatic moments that elevate us from a lower level to a higher. And they do, but there's a paradox. In the moment, an epiphany feels like hell. Like Roseanne Cash's dream, an epiphany trashes us. It exposes us and leaves us naked. We see ourselves plain, and it's not a pretty picture. The essence of epiphanies is the stripping away of self-delusion. We thought we were X. Now suddenly we're minus X. We're X divided by infinity. There's a great power in this moment. You've lost everything, yes. A cherished self-delusion must be abandoned, and this hurts. But what we have gained is the truth. Our bullshit fades away. The scales drops from our eyes. In that moment, we have 2 options. We can reconstitute our bullshit, or we can turn pro. Shame is good. In the post-epiphanal moment, we have 2 things going for us that we didn't have 90 seconds earlier. We have reality and we have humility. These are powerful allies. And we have a third force working in our favor, shame. Why is shame good? Because shame can produce the final element we need to change our lives, will. Epiphanies hurt. There's no glory to them. They only make good stories at AA meetings or late night among other foot soldiers in the trenches. These soldiers know. Each has its own story of that ghastly, hideous, excruciating moment when it all turned around for him. All right. That is Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. All right. Let's have a quick discussion on goblins. And then see what we can do here. So let's see. Inner Light says, I think I was having a fever dream last night because I got to thinking, wait, what are goblin men? I think they're different from goblins since they can be outdoors in the sunlight, maybe half goblins. So, because Uruk-hai, as far as I know, goblin men, Uruk-hai are the sorcerous breeding of orcs and goblin men, according to the movies, according to the Fellowship of the Ring movie. So, as far as I know, that term goblin men only comes from the movie. And I always took that as a slight kind of cop out that Peter Jackson did in order to not have the Uruk-hai actually be the breeding of orcs and men. He used this term goblin men, which as far as I know is not in Tolkien, to kind of sidestep the creation of Uruk-hai. I thought it's kind of, maybe Gandalf was using it as a descriptor, goblin men, so like evil men or something. But he uses the term goblin men in the movie, I thought, to sidestep the trying to or conjuring in people's mind the idea of orcs breeding with men. So that's what I think. So yeah, no, because there are half orcs. So in some ways they are half orcs, but there are also half orcs in Tolkien, because like some of the half orcs could pass as sort of ugly people, and Saruman used them as spies. So you've got the Uruk-hai, but then you can go even more in a human direction to have half orcs, and some of which can even work among humans as ugly humans as spies. Because the Tolkien doesn't distinguish between orc, goblin, and also ogre, because there are large orcs. So this particular creature, this particular category of creature, and at one time I did some work categorizing orcs for an RPG, which might be something that gets to be resurrected later. Although I think I lost a lot of the files, because that's back when I was working on a Lord of the Rings conversion for GURPS. And Tolkien doesn't. Tolkien basically tells you, and I think this is where you're going. Hey, Lynn, by the way. Yeah. So Tolkien does talk about where the word orc comes from, and it's a more or less a regional term. The term goblin is used predominantly in The Hobbit, and that's told from the Hobbit perspective, without intermediaries, as many intermediaries. So he uses the term goblin. So goblin is something that the hobbits use a lot more in Middle Earth. Yeah, so that's cultural, regional. Yeah. So that's it. So that's my thought. But yeah, I don't think it does. I think that a goblin, I think a hobbit might consider all orcs goblins, but we will see. John says that's a good point. They were probably trying to avoid the implication of sexual violence, which is fair for 21st century cinema, and what the Lord of the Rings movie was trying to be. Good morning, Brent. Good morning. Oh, he does? Sorry to burst the bubble, but Goblin Men is from the Legendarium. Tolkien uses it too. Okay, well, I would love to know if you have a reference for that. I would love to see it. I would love to have that information. So if we can find a reference to Goblin Men, that would be fantastic. I would love it. So, okay, so yeah, Tolkien Gateway says Goblin Men are Tolkienese. They were at the Battle of the Hornburg. Okay, so they were at the Battle of the Hornburg. All right, well, I'm going to look that up, because I would continue that, because in that case, I wonder if it's being used differently there. I wonder if Tolkien is using that differently than the way Gandalf used that in the movie in Rivendell. Because if Goblin Men were at the Hornburg, he could be talking about basically half orcs there, instead of something that was used to create the Uruk-hai. I wonder if the usage is different now. Well, now see, I can get that. So I can completely get the usage of the term as a half orc, but not the way that Gandalf used it. Okay, so we got it. Oh, thank you, Interlight. See, this is the joys of doing this live. So, but these creatures of Isengard, these half orcs and goblin men that the foul craft of Sauron has bred, they will not quail at the sun. Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, so yeah, in that case, half orc and goblin man, to me, that sounds like they're very similar. Like a somebody might call it a half orc, and other people might call it a goblin man. Yeah. Okay, so that is good that that Gandalf's quote does come in there, but I still think that's a different usage than at the Hornburg. Okay, so thank you. I take the correction on that it does appear. That is fantastic. But I think Gandalf would just be talking about the breeding of orcs and men there. Now, see, but because there are a lot. I mean, that's often how we use goblin today, and obviously there were a whole bunch of different. This is what John says, yeah, orcs are very diverse in the books, different breeds, even different languages. There are smaller ones, broader ones. There's a lot of variety in orcs. And often today, we use goblins for the smaller ones, maybe which is how I classically use goblin as well. But I do think it was a different, regional difference. So Hardly Paranormal says, my interpretation is they took two types of people with partial orc ancestry to make super orcs, the Uruk-hai. This makes me want to return to my essay on the different breeds of orcs. I wonder if I can find it. Well, to me, they weren't paler. To me, the goblins, the Misty Mountains, the Hobbit were paler, stupider, and less organized. Of course, they're pale in the movies. In fact, I was just talking to Doug and Brianna last night when we were trying to organize Table Talk. We were organizing, we want to cover the Fellowship of the Ring, at least. But I would really like to talk about The Hobbit. Now, not the movies, but I would like to go back. Who would be a good person? Is there like a Tolkien scholar who would come in and talk about The Hobbit? Because I would like to talk about The Hobbit, the book. Just go on a deep dive on the book, The Hobbit. I think that's definitely worth doing. I don't care about the movies, but in the movies they have the pale look. The goblins have the pale look, but I always envisioned them also dark. But yeah, but to me it's the demonic influence. So I definitely, my idea of the demonic orc, or my vision of the demonic orc, really started with The Hobbit, with those goblins. That when you're underground with those goblins, it's hellish imagery. Okay. Where else can you go but the morning grind to get a conversation like that in the morning? Oh, right. Many of them aren't even loyal to Sauron. The Moria orcs argue about their motives and plan of act. That's the Moria orcs. You got the Goblin Town orcs. We got orcs from Mount Graham and stuff. So yes, there are also more independent orcs as well. Okay, let's see what we can do here. So let's what's the best way to do this? Instead of having to go back and forth on a lot of different things between the auxiliary camera and the computer up here, why don't we try to do a bunch of rolling at once? I'm going to bring up the auxiliary camera. I'll turn on the auxiliary light so that everybody can see a bit better. Oh, I always hit the wrong thing. All right, everybody, say good morning to Yogg-Sothoth. Yogg-Sothoth is the gate. This is the gate, isn't it? Yes, this is Yogg-Sothoth is the gate. Yogg-Sothoth is the gate. All right. So we got to make an elf fighter who's going to be our long range fighter. We got to make our human ranger, which is like Aragorn. This is kind of suitable because we're doing archetypes here that often come from Tolkien. And I thought that was interesting. I was really more interested in the Shadowdark Ranger after listening to Kelsey say that her inspiration for the design of the Ranger was Aragorn. So that's great. So that works great. We need a bard. And some people were saying goblin bard could be, but I think we should do a human bard. And then a goblin and just see what happens with the goblin. Because the goblin's the weird one to me, because to me that's not quite so archetypical to have a goblin PC, but you can in Shadowdark, so I figure we'll make one of them. Just so that we've got it, and it can be our wild card. How are you feeling this morning, Inner Light? You said you were out with the flu. Set 1, set 2, set 3, and set 4. I got these dice were working well yesterday. The other dice I was using didn't work so well. So we're going to get the Doom Edition Elder Dice here. Doom Edition Cthulhu Elder Dice. Because we need some capable characters. Let's see. So we got talking about strength, talking about dex, talking about con, talking about intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Where is it? I still have to clean around here. And that's another thing that I'm going to become obsessed with. So instead of trying to, I got to pick up, I got to clean, it's going to be like, okay, like basically, I think as soon as the coffee shop is done, then just a day of obsessively cleaning is what needs to happen here. All right. So things that have to be rolled for. Let's just roll them up. We also have to roll for hit points. We have to roll for a background. We have to roll for talent. We have to roll for gold. Isn't that all that we have to roll for? But then I figure we can choose which one which goes with what that we need to make. See which one is most appropriate for which. So we're trying to make. I'll put a note down here. Is that going to be the name of the goblin? Oh, MZ says that would be fabulous. The Hobbit book, especially. You're feeling fever's gone at least, still recovering. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, because I want to write stories for that age group, and and the Hobbit was such an influential book on me that going back and studying it, I think would be really useful. So we need to do a scholarly deep dive on the Hobbit. All right. So we got to roll straight down here. We're trying to do Elf Fighter, who is going to be our ranged. We are going to do a Human Ranger. We need a Human Bard to be suitably like Celtic here. And then a Goblin of some kind. All right. Let's see who's going to be who. Where's my third? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, we'll just do set 1. Now here, let's we'll see if we want to invoke the 14 rule. But here, we don't have to, because this is no, this is 13, the 14 rule. So we got 13 for strength. We have got 10 for dex. Oh, thank you, Hardly Paranormal. Thank you, Hardly. Please do like the stream if you're here. Other people might want to talk about goblins in the morning too. That's a 14 con. A 10 on intelligence. A 12 in wisdom. And then 13 in charisma. So we do have a high con person, which thank God, because our hit points have been low throughout this entire thing. The dwarf that we rolled up was the most capable of all of them. So we got a high con person. I do need, by the way, to get I found online the bard and the ranger, Shadowdark, bard, ranger. I think I found them in the Discord, but I wasn't on my computer. Well, you think this one should be human ranger? We'll see. Well, let's compare. Let's roll some more. All right, set 2. That one is cocked. There we go. 2. So 11. We've got 11 strength. Dex. Whoa, we have a seriously high dex character. So we got a 16 dex. Oh, we got a low constitution, though. We got 8 on constitution. Elf fighter. That's exactly what I was thinking. This one seems to be the elf fighter. Intelligence, 7, 8. Oh, man, low on intelligence. $14 wisdom. 11, 14 charisma. Elf fighter, that one may certainly be. All right, set 3. These stats are also just better than what we were rolling last time. Set 3. So this one could be, so elf fighter, we were thinking. How does the bard cast spells in Shadowdark? I was looking for some reason I got to that. I found it yesterday, and it took me to, I guess it was yesterday, the day before, and it took me to a Discord link. I need that link. The the bard isn't spellcasting anyway. So the bard isn't spellcasting anyway. So that could be human bard. And at least he's got a reasonably high charisma here. Okay, so let's go with that. Set 3. $14 in strength. So 8, 9 in Dex. 10 in Constitution. 8 in Intelligence. 12 in Wisdom. 10 in Charisma. We might want to throw that one to the Goblin. I think we did. I think we put Hera as the dwarf name. Oh, Thraxis has these dice? Well, I'm glad, because I made them. Where's the original set? Well, that's a reprint. Where's the original Elder Dice? If you look down on the back, this is now we put Infinite Black on the back here, but on the original printing of Elder Dice, it actually said by Heath Robinson and David LaRocca. So you might even have a set of dice that has my name on it. They're good dice to have. All right, so one more. That one might be sent to the Goblin. Set number 4. Come on, we need a good. Oh, put the dice down for a moment. We need a good human ranger. We need somebody who's going to be Aragorn here. Or maybe a goblin. Well, not it's low dex. We do have lots of fighters. So the goblin could be, it's a low int goblin. All right, set 4. Oh my God. 6 in strength. But a oh my God. So but a 16. We got another 16 dex character. We've got a 12 in Constitution. We have got an 11 in Intelligence. 13 in Wisdom. And then 12 in Charisma. Well, this one, the strength 6 hurts. Okay. But no, I can't believe I didn't forget to. The last one should be a Goblin Thief. You think this one should be Goblin Thief? It seems like playing Aragorn here with a strength 6 would really hurt. Higher strength here, man. It would be great to have. If you want to have, see Aragorn. If you're actually playing Aragorn, then you're probably going to be a melee kind of fighter. So I guess this one is more of that then. It's not just any 6. It's a 6 that's lying on its back the way you wrote it. Okay, so Human Ranger. It's kind of it's kind of average, but we did hit the 14 rule. We hit the 14 rule on all of these. So, all right, that looks like the way we're going here. Okay, so I need the. Does anybody have the link to the PDFs of the dwarf of the Bard and the Ranger handy? This might be it. Nope. Well, okay, we'll look for that later. We'll do the so this is the Ranger. No, Elf Fighter. All right, let's do Elf Fighter. So what do we need to roll for? We need to roll for a talent. So what is the fighter's talent going to be? This is for the elf. We're rolling 2d6. Number 9, +2 to strength, dexterity, or constitution. So this is an elf ranged fighter. +2 to strength, dexterity, or constitution. We could boost the constitution up to 10, but I think that it's going to be a -1. But then again, it's an elf. In this case, people seem to like boosting the prime stat. So you would get an 18 at Dex as an elf ranged fighter. And if you're going to be ranged, seems like that's what you should do. Do people agree with that? So my talent is going to be +2 Dex, which would make it an 18 Dex character. So talent rolled for. Let's roll background. Let's roll background across the board. Background. Here we go. All right. So actually, first, human bard. We'll go human bard. What's the human bard's background? 5, banished. People cast you out for your supposed crimes. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe you told truth to power. Elf fighter, background. Also 5, banished as well. Banished from the woodland realm. Set 3, so this is the human ranger. 6, orphaned. Oh, that makes sense for the ranger. The goblin thief is 8. A jeweler. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Oh, let's roll gold across the board because that's easy. That's 2d6 across the board times 5. Gold here, 50 gold coins for the human bard. $45 gold coins for the elf. 60 gold coins for the ranger. And so 40 gold coins. 40 gold coins for the thief. Okay. So I need to find the Bard PDF. It's not still on my phone, is it? Looks like not. I wonder if I can ask in the Shadowdark. You would think that would be something easy, that would be easy to find. In the Shadowdark Discord server, because it was a link to Discord. Bard? It's hardly like Discord is a great way to organize PDFs and information that you might need. Let me just ask. The Bard and I found links to them on my phone the other day. Oh, okay, Innerlight. Okay, thank you, Innerlight. Shadowdark Ranger class. All right, I'm going to download that right now. I had something that was all together. Okay, Ranger class. So here's what it says for Ranger class. Skilled trackers, stealthy wanderers, and peerless warriors who call the wilds their home. Weapons, dagger, longbow, longsword, short bow, short spear. No, let me start that again. Dagger, longbow, longsword, short bow, short sword, spear, and staff. They can wear leather armor and chainmail. And because of Aragorn, that's why she gave them chainmail. D8 per level. You have advantage checks associated with navigation, tracking, bushcraft, stealth, and wild animals. And then they have herbalism as well. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the human ranger right here. Since I have this up, let's roll a talent. So I'm going to roll 2d6 for this talent. 9. 9 is +2 to strength, dexterity, or intelligence. Strength, dexterity, or intelligence. I don't think we need to do intelligence. I mean, in keeping with our max out what we can, that would suggest moving strength to 16. And that would make this a frontline kind of fighter. I was thinking about making this more of a close-up fighter, melee fighter, than a distance fighter. Although I think he should also have like a short bow or something. So why don't we move this to 16? So this would be +2. What he rolled here was +2 strength. This is the Goblin Thief. Jason says, Goblin Thief and Elf Ranger sounds fun. Yeah, the elf can be the moral compass for the handsy Goblin Thieves. Oh, humans get 2 talents. That's right. Humans get 2 talents at level 1. So we get 2 talents for being human. That's right. So it's a human ranger, so we roll again. 5. 5 is +1 melee or ranged attacks and damage. +1 melee or ranged. Melee or ranged attacks and damage. Giving him the range seems wasted at the moment, because that's just like the so he also gets +1 melee attack and damage. Oh, thank you. All right, we got the Bard. Inner Light's coming through for us. Thank you so much. Yeah, Bard and Ranger. This is the link I found the other day, couldn't find. Thank you so much, Inner Light. Okay, so Bard class here. This is a human, so we're going to roll twice. So so this says, the Bard in general. Bards are welcome wanderers and wise advisors. It's their task to protect and share knowledge handed down through the ages. Weapons: crossbow, dagger, mace, short bow, short sword, spear, and staff. Armor: leather armor, chainmail, and shields. Hit points 1d6 per level. Languages: 4 additional common languages and 1 rare language. Bardic arts. You're trained in oration, performing languages, performing arts, lore, and diplomacy. You have advantage on related checks. Magical dabbler. You can activate spell scrolls and wands using charisma as your spellcasting stat. If you critically fail, roll a wizard mishap. Presence. Make a charisma check to enact one of the following effects. If you fail, you can't use that effect again until you successfully rest. Inspire, DC 12. One target near gains a luck token. Or Fascinate, DC 15. You transfix all targets of level 4 or less within near for 1d4 rounds. Oh, whoa, that's pretty good. So that's so it's based on charisma over here. He's got a 13 charisma. Prolific. Add D6 to your learning rolls. Groups carousing with one or more bards as 1d6 to their rolls. Okay, so were they together in the backer kit? I'm sure I could have found it through that too. Okay, so he gets 2 talent rolls. Bard talent. An 11. Reduce the DC of your presence effects by 3 each. Oh, well, that's huge. Reduce DC. We'll write this out on the computer later. Reduce DC, the presence, 3 each. So you don't really need the bonus there if you've reduced the DC. Okay, so the second one that I got here that I'm looking at now is like the final distributed form. Okay, and then he gets another one too. Oh, there we go. Oh, I rolled another 10, but it says effect 10 or 11 is if that's a duplicate re-roll. Because I was like, well, that's not all that fun. Like, that's a fantastic one to begin with to reduce the DCs of Inspire and Fascinate. So that becomes 9 and 12. But I didn't really want that a second time, but it actually tells me to re-roll. So I'm re-rolling my Bard talent, my second Bard talent, and got an 8. So that's +2 to distribute to any stats. The Bard gets to do any stats. So, what kind of a fighter? What kind of a role is this going to be? So, he's got reasonable strength, average dex. No, well, probably close enough for us. Yeah. Maybe they were minor, like, typo changes or something. Hey, and everybody, please do like the stream if you're here. Please do like the stream. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I would love to have you. Oh, my coffee's cold. So the weapons they can use are crossbow, dagger, mace, short bow, short sword, spear, and staff. We don't have anybody who uses a spear. Can't use... Oh, he can use shields. He's probably going to have leather armor. A short bow and a spear. That seems different and thematic. Where do I want to put these +2? Where would you recommend putting these +2 points? Well, can we mathematically optimize this? Hey, Michael. So 13. So we could move this up. This would actually give us a bonus. So anything that's on an odd. So it doesn't really make sense to put it. Can we raise 2? Can we raise 2 to plus whatever? That one won't help. 14. That one won't help. Won't help. Charisma. So we could up our charisma. We could up our charisma and our strength. So actually, that's probably what we should do. We should make this one, see, +2 stats. Make this one 14. That will move it to a +2 and our strength 14. BGD says Dex. Dex would help us with our armor class and such. It seems like a lot of things have to do with charisma here. Oh, he's going to use charisma as his spellcasting stat if he can get a wand or stuff. So that's always this one. That's good. Good morning, Robert. Good morning. Yeah, we would have to place both of our points into Dex to get that up to a +1 Dex. So I think that's good. All right. Oh, we got a thief. So we're doing a goblin thief. This game is also one of the ones I like. This generally small number of classes. I like the inclusion of the ranger and the bard, especially the way that she did them. But all right, all right. So thief talents. This is a goblin thief. So just one talent roll. Here we go. 6 +2 to strength, dexterity, or charisma. Well, that would allow him to max out. Okay, BGD is saying always dex. So we did roll +2 to strength, dexterity, or charisma. So we could max out dexterity. And he's a small guy, so that seems like something we should do. So that he got +2 dex. Okay. HP. Now this is rough. What is our con bonus? Our con bonus is going to be +1. Yeah, okay. So the thief here. All right, here we go. Thief rolls. Whoa, Goblin Thief has 5 hit points. Okay. Ranger is D8, isn't it? Ranger is D8 and has but no con bonus. Whew. D8 Ranger, come on. God! Ah! Ah! Makes him difficult to be a... how many of these characters have 1 hit point? How many of these characters have 1 hit point? I'm living proof that you can roll 1. You can make up 20 characters, and they all can, in fact, have 1 hit point. Did I drop roll again? There was a 7. Elf fighter. So the fighter is obviously the bard. We got the bard up right here. D6. 6. Bard has 6. Elf fighter. Fighter's D10, isn't it? No, fighter's D8. D8. Six. All right. So what was the human ranger also? The human ranger also had D8. Oh, Bard has +2 for con. Oh, Bard has +2 for con. So, oh yeah, so the Bard has 8. I was checking that on the other ones, but I didn't hear. Wait, and did I do the negative here? Because that would be a -1 on con. So the elf so this should actually be a 5. Because I rolled a 6, right? We need to go to the tape on that. Well, I was thinking about this too, because the major issue seems to be these hit points. And I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with 1 and 2 hit points for something like a wizard or for the 0th level characters. If we were doing 0th level characters, that would be a thing. But of course, this game is definitely very random. We've talked about that. We've talked about different kinds of the different kinds of distributions that different dice give us. And this is very random. So like the Ranger is supposed to be a D8. Here's how I think I would do this. I was thinking about this yesterday. If you want to do rolls of like a D8 at later levels, that's fine. But I think well, no, it's that's not quite true, right? Even in the funnel, you can start with more than you start with just your con modifier, minimum of 1. So most will have 1, but it's possible to have 2 or 3, or I guess even 4 if you happen to have rolled an 18, right? Yeah. So it's possible to even have a 4. So I like that, but I think you need at least some type of normal distribution at first level, at least. So one argument is to always start at max HP. That's one thing Michael Connor says. Otherwise, you need to you run into needing to treat characters like DCC. Yeah, and first level, it seems like first level characters, and some people I know were online were saying first level characters are like running a funnel. But I think this is that's going to require a little bit of adjustment. So we have a house rule that you can start with half your starting hit die rounded up. So I've also played with that house rule that you either get you can roll for it, but if you roll less than half of what you're supposed to have, then you can get half of your hit die. So I like that rule too, because it seems to me like the fact that you have more hit points is something that is basically like a class feature. That's something that should differentiate a fighter from a thief and a wizard. To me, that's the way that it sounds like. Roll 2. Take higher die. Or, I was thinking yesterday, if I were doing something like this and you wanted a normal, and you wanted there to be a risk, it depends on whether or not you want there to be any risk at all to that. But like if you've got D4s, you could get some type of distribution here by moving a D4 hit die to 2D2. And then the D6 to 2D3. And the D8 to 2D4. But you're still accepting that you can have a much lower hit point range. So for instance, we got 2D4 over here. That would be 4 hit points. Shadowdark is definitely more old school, and that you want to avoid fighting as much as possible. And you aren't meant to be a punching bag. You aren't meant to be a punching bag, so that's fine. But it's not like you can't be one-shotted still. Like even with more hit points, you can still be one-shotted. Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. Even your XP comes from treasure, and you can escape by not killing things. And even if you're at max hit points, everything is very dangerous. So right, because you can still be one-shot. That was my point. That even if you have more than 1 hit point, 3 or 4 or whatever, you can still be one-shotted. Let's take a look at some of these monsters in here. By the way, I was like, monsters like hags, for instance. Well, let's look at low-level monsters like a goblin. Over here, guard is a level 1 monster. So guard over here. A sentry equipped with a sturdy weapons and armor. That's a level 1 bad guy. AC 15, HP 4. Well, the guard has HP 4. HP 4, but what kind of damage can it do? D6 or a longsword D8. So a level 1 guard can be dishing out D6 up to 6 or up to 8 with the longsword. So they're one-shotting each other. It's certainly possible. What is a goblin? Let's say you're fighting a goblin. Here's goblin right here. Goblin, short, hairless humanoid with green skin and pointy ears. So goblin, so just standard goblin. Goblin is also level 1. Goblin is going to be dealing attacks with a club D4. So even if you have 4 or short bow far, that's D4. I don't know. But with 1 hit point, like for the wizard, that can make sense. But for the ranger and stuff, I'll just have to see. I'll see how we end up going. But we'll keep it as it is for right now. Because in this game, as well as in D&D, you're supposed to be making 2 rolls. The to hit roll, oh, I was hit, oh, and then am I going down? So some characters just have the, well, if I'm hit, if the D20 is rolled, then I know I'm going down. And then some characters will know, well, there's a chance I'm still up by rolling on a second die. So some characters don't have that. So Sable says, if you have to fight, skew the field in your favor as far as possible, sneak, cheat, and use the environment. Hardly Normal says, since you can't be one-shotted even with more than, since you can be one-shotted with even more than 1 HP, do you think the amount of HP doesn't super matter at level 1? Maybe having more than 1 HP only gives the illusion of safety. Well, it's a little bit more than the illusion of safety for that reason that if you've got more than 1 HP, you do have to go through a second roll. There's a chance you're only wounded. Like I guess I like the possibility that you're wounded, especially since you have the cleric who can heal you. So if you only have 1 HP, your state is binary. Either you're alive or you're dead. You never have, you don't want to be hit. Like, oh my God, I was hit. There's a chance, though, that I'm only wounded. Characters with 1 HP have no chance of only being wounded. So I don't know if, so that, does it make combat more realistic? You're either alive or you're dying. You think that makes combat more realistic? Alive, wounded, or dying. At least there are 3 levels: alive, wounded, or dying. Characters the one just have alive or dying. And I was reading this. It makes it a little bit worse too, because it's important to make sure we're playing Shadowdark right if we're going to do this. Because I haven't played yet, but I want to be sure that it's not just played like regular D&D if it's not supposed to be. Because it does say, let's look at death here. Ritterick says SD leans toward combat is a failure state. Death. A character who goes to 0 HP falls unconscious and is dying. A character who goes above HP wakes up and is no longer dying. So that is a reason for the cleric to still be there, that even if they are down, the cleric needs to take the, because I was like, man, if you only have 1 HP, what is the cleric supposed to be doing? But if they go down, then they can still be healed. Because your death timer, a dying character rolls 1d4 plus their con modifier for a minimum of 1 total. That is a big negative, no pun intended, to having low con. So when this elf fighter goes down, we're going to be rolling a d4 for our death timer. So that's his death timer's on 3. So the fact that the negative con, it influences your hit points only at first level, but then it is going to influence your death timer. On each of the character's subsequent turns, that player rolls a d20. On a natural 20, the character rises with 1 hit point. Stabilize. An intelligent being can give first aid to a dying creature at close range. On a successful DC 15 intelligence check, the target stops dying but is still unconscious. Death. A character who perishes is retired from the game. And I did notice as well, when we were looking at spells, I think spells are over here. So cure wounds. Instant close. Oh, no. This is slightly different over here. So cure wounds. Instant close range. Your touch restores ebbing life. Roll a number of d6s equal to 1 plus half your level rounded down. one target you touch gains that many hit points. So you're rolling d6. A character who goes above HP wakes up and is no longer dying. So the priest with cure wounds is got to get to people, staying close, and bringing people back up. I don't know. All right, let me let's move over here. Let's take this down. Oh, look. I was about to say I guess this mouse right here needs to be charged. Since I'm going to be on the computer, we need a better mouse. Oh, that's better. Okay. Put this mouse on the charger. Oh, by the way, just as far as news goes, we haven't talked about this, but we're talking about Warhammer. I don't need my dice anymore. I don't need my Warhammer. I don't need my dice. We were talking about Warhammer, and I noticed that Wild Barley was texting me to say that the pre-orders for Warhammer, the new Warhammer Old World, are up, and Bretonia is there. I don't know. I don't know if I need to pre-order or not, but if you're doing if you want to get into Warhammer, I had just built, started to build an army for, well, what was that game? Oh, Kings of War. I started building a Kings of War army. I was having fun with that. Now Warhammer Old World is coming out. There's so many games actually to design. I want to be able to design both of those. Something like that. But there's a lot, but we're doing one project at a time now. One project at a time. Okay, so here we go, right here. All right, so all right, we need fighter. Let's figure this out. I might as well do this. I need these for the coffee shop, so I might as well keep going here. So this is going to be fighter. This is going to be our elf. So I got this right here, and we'll fighter. So let's do our elf. Okay, fighter elf. This is the next one that we were going to do. Let's get him typed up. So we got strength 11. We'll buy equipment, see how they go. Dex 18. 8. Con 8. Intelligence 8. 14 wisdom and 14 charisma. Is that the same as the dwarf had? Okay, so 8 is -1. -1. Strength, we said 11, so that's +0. And then 18, that's going to be +4. Is he our first 18 character? He might be. Okay, HP, that was 5, because he rolled a 6 and is short for con. Five. Thraxis says, my expanded character creation system for Shadowdark, Shadow Master, helps fix this problem. The HP and stats are the most common thing to be house ruled. Oh, you're right. Okay, AC, we got to calculate. This is, we don't have a name yet for the elf. Ancestry elf, class fighter 1, that's right. Needs to be lawful. So that was squire again, right? But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for. What are it makes kind of more sense for this character to use a ranger title. And ranger then the titles are just fluff anyway. If I was going to say wanderer, so wanderer is actually our ranger title. So let's for a lawful. So let's use wanderer here rather than squire, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Our background is banished. Sounds like a good reason to be wandering. Deity. Who is the nature kind of deity or something? Oh, we got manifestation of law, or no, let's say Saint Terragenus. All right. So languages. So we hadn't looked at ancestry stuff. So elf. Ethereal, graceful people who revere knowledge and beauty. Elves see far and live long. You know common, elvish, and sylvan. So common, elvish, and sylvan. And it's farsight. You get a bonus. You get a +1 bonus to attack rolls with ranged weapons. Ranged weapons, or a +1 bonus to spellcasting checks. So this is not like you can't multi-class. So this is not a wizard. So if you're playing an elf, you can also make a good elf wizard. I do like that, or get the bonus for being an elf wizard. That one also seems rather iconic. If there was going to be another wizard, I think I would make it an elf wizard. Another character, I think I would make an elf wizard. But so farsight, get a +1 bonus to attack rolls with ranged. So that's going to be really important here. And then what were our, so then that was farsight. So now we go over to fighter. So fighter, D8, hauler, add constitution modifier if positive. No, we got another fighter without without positive constitution. So we're going to move this up. We don't have this. So we only have a maximum of 10 slots. So once again, we skip over hauler. Weapon master, you gain a +1 to attack and damage with great axes, but we choose one type of weapon. But we're going to make this longbow. We can buy a longbow, right? I believe we can. Damage with a longbow. And then grit. This person needs to be the strength, the dex person. You have advantage on dex checks to overcome an opposing force, such as slipping free of rusty chains. And then our talent for him was +2 dex. And I want to put, when I go back and look over all these characters, this would be +2 dex. Talent roll number 1 was +2 dex, and that has been included. James is undecided on the old world. I'm undecided too. If I don't really feel the need to get into. I've got so many miniatures to paint anyway, and I've got the Kings of War when I want to play a game like that I was building. Oh, Innerlight says I would do Geed as the deity. But Geed is neutral. So you don't have to worship a deity. I had this person as lawful. So so you don't. I guess it's only the priest that had the priest where the alignment has to match the god. So you don't have to do that. If you don't have to do that, then Geed actually makes more sense. Or should we make this person alignment neutral as well? Oh, it says most folk worship the four lords, the lawful and neutral gods, who stand for justice, order, and mercy. It says priests must choose one god to serve faithfully. A priest's deity can revoke the gift of spellcasting if the priest commits blasphemous acts. Have I looked at one-page rules? Yes, I have. I have looked at one-page rules. Not in great detail, but I have looked at them. Sable says, I don't think Shadowdark is actually really designed for long campaigns as its root, which means house ruling stats and HP wouldn't necessarily be needed. Again, old school was fantastically deadly. Character death and reroll was common. And Inner Light says, I've noticed that having a lot of hit points can make a player a bit overconfident in their combat ability. Does Farsight require classes? All right, see you later. It was good having you, Hardly Normal. Hardly Paranormal. Robert says, I think this is why SSI's AD&D computer game lets you modify stats for new characters. Later, Daniel. Okay, so Talent 1 included. Okay, so gear now? I guess gear. So we had, I'll just make notes down here. He's got plenty of gold. He's got 50 GP. So he can take his longbow, which is 8. He needs leather armor, which is 10. Looks like basically starting out with leather armor is basically the standard. He needs arrows. Arrows are 1 GP. Hey, Vision. Oh, Daniel's still here. Good morning, Vision. Let's see. So we got the Crawler's Kit, which is 7. I've been giving everybody that. Leather armor. Does the longbow take up 2? No, it does take up 2 slots, but it's two-handed. Okay, so the great axe becomes a longbow. Oh, yikes. So the fact that a torch takes up a slot is big. And also the flint and steel does. Flint and steel, torch, rations, iron spikes, grappling hook, rope, leather armor, longbow. Yeah, but it's even that case even more, because if you roll 60 is the most gold you can have to start off with, right? 60 is the most gold that you can start with. So you would have to spend it all on the armor. He's got to have arrows too. Leather armor, longbow, arrows. That's 20 arrows. I think he's actually going to have to drop some things because he's only got 10 slots. He's not going to be able to take everything from his crawler kit. Dagger has finesse. Yeah, so he needs to have a dagger. He needs to have a melee weapon. I agree. So let's de-italicize that. 20 arrows. Maybe he does not have the iron spikes. Okay, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking, Inner Light. So dropping that, longbow, arrows, and then need to give him a dagger. That's very classic. Very classic. The longbow and the dagger. And if he needs to drop something, the grappling hook, he can also, if he needs to drop something later, he can drop the grappling hook to carry something else. So how many slots is that? Or how many gold is that? So we had 50 minus 8 minus 10 minus 1 minus 7. 24 gold left. You still got plenty of gold left. And then, so his AC, his AC is going to be pretty good because that's also fantastic. So it's 11 plus the Dex modifier, which is plus, so he's got AC 15. So that's right. So AC 15. And so now all we have to do is put in his attacks. I know we've got the dagger in here. Yep, here's the dagger. Let's get rid of Great Axe. Yeah, I expect that's what's going to happen. Give it to Hera for her chainmail. Also, the priest could use some chainmail too. So it just depends on who all is in the party. Because you might as well spend the gold to help yourself out. So that's the dagger. Okay, but what is the attack bonus? The attack bonus with the dagger. What? 1, 2, 3. So the deal with the dagger is that it is the finesse weapon. So you can use, that's what we're saying. So finesse, you may use your strength or dex when attacking with this weapon. And thrown, you may use strength or dex. So this character is definitely going to attack using dex. So this would be +4. Whether we are melee or not. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and make it explicit. So +4, damage 1d4. There we go. And then it's going to be +5 with longbow. That's right, because we've got weapon mastery, and the longbow is going to get extra damage too. So let's look at, let's do longbow. Attack bonus is going to be +5. And longbow is ranged far. Range far. That means you can't use it up close. Let's look at distances. Or closer than far. 84. No, 85. See distances. Oh, far just means within sight. Distance are broken up to close. Close is 5 feet. Near is up to 30 feet. And far is just within sight. So he could shoot at something near. Would be my understanding of that. So plus D8, and it's +1. So it's D8 +1, two-handed. All right. Now I got to figure out how to put both of those on here. All right, dagger and longbow. I might come up with a better way to write those out, but both of them are there. All right, is that it? Ranged weapons can be used at close, near, and far range. Oh, it's in the Ranger descriptor rules. Oh, well, that's good to know. I was wanting to verify exactly that. Okay. So that's good. All right. So he can do the legless thing and shoot somebody who's running in close up. All right. So is that it? Oh, we don't have name. We don't have a name. Some potential names. These are some different kinds of elf names here. Ruhil, I like that. Oh no, reading that wrong. It seems like if you couldn't use it at close, but could use it at near, would make sense. Ruhil or Hiralia. Okay. All right. So that one down. We got a thief already set up, so let's do a goblin thief. Let's write him out. This is the thief goblin. This is the thief halfling. Okay, so we'll need to put in a new name for our goblin thief. Stray says, this is awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying this. In fact, I need to warm up this coffee. Before I continue, I need to... Innerlight says, for range, anything with sight. So I'm guessing it would include close range too. That would keep the legless epic feeling going, right? At the moment, the way the range is written, I would say up to. That does eliminate the, we don't have adjacency in this. But like, oh my God, it's right up next to me, so I can't use my bow. I'm going to have to go to daggers. So, so at the moment, that seems to be a judgment call. Because I would definitely say near you could shoot. But the idea is, does the game master and this game in general want, once they're near, does this guy need to go to his dagger or not? So let me warm up my coffee. I need to warm up my coffee before we keep going. So Yeti hug break, everybody.
Oh, it's time for a Yeti hug break. Yeti hug break, Yeti hug break. Everybody go hug yo Yeti and show yo Yeti some love.
All right, here we go. Ugh. Yeti's in the chat. Well, it's still a good choice if you run out of arrows. Yes, yes. I think the way that's written, Inner Light says, I think the way that it's written is that close is within near or within far. Hey, is that something we should put to the Discord server? That seems like a good question to ask. Hey, we got a question this morning. About the use of ranged weapons and longbows specifically. The longbow has a range of far. Does that mean the character can only shoot at far range or a maximum of far range? How do people play it? Or do you prevent ranged weapons from being used at close range? I'll put that in the general chat. We'll just see what people say. All right. So we are Goblin Thief now. All right. So Ancestry is going to be Goblin. We got Thief. Let's see. So our Strength is 6. Our Dex is 18. Our Con is 12. Our Intelligence is 11. 13. Wisdom 13. Charisma 12. I still want to find a better background if I can for a character sheet. Let's see. So strength. Was that negative? No, -2. -2. Dexterity, 18. That'd be +4. Con, +1. Intelligence. Yeah, we did include that con in the hit points. Okay, intelligence is 11, so that checks out. Wisdom is 13. So no, wisdom, that's plus +0. Wisdom is 13, so that becomes +1. And then charisma is 12, so that's +1. All right, did that check out? Strength 6 is -2. Dex 18 +4. Con 12 +1. Int 11 +0. Wisdom 13 +1. Charisma 12 +1. All right. What? Neutral thief sounds pretty good. Oh, so that would be robber again. What was our background? Oh, background is jeweler. Yeah, extra E. That's what I thought. Okay, jeweler. What's a good god for this thief? Oh, thank you, Stray. Stray sent in a $20 super chat. Thank you very much, Stray. And actually sending in a check out the Raven Keep store for awesome coffee and mugs as well. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, Stray. So in fact, you send the super chat, let me solo myself right here. So the Cultist coffee mug. This is kind of the official mug of the Morning Grind. I have the Witch's Brew as well. I still have a few of these left on ravenkeep.net. We made them up for the cultists originally. So we needed some cultist coffee. So if you would, I've got just a few of them left, actually. The few ones that I have left are actually in my bedroom right over there in the other room. I packed these up and send them out personally to make sure they don't get smashed, because I had a problem with the warehouse was not packing them well enough and they were getting broken. And I only have a few of them left, like maybe about like 18 or something. And so I wanted to be sure that they get to people who want them and don't get broken. So that's why I started packing them myself. So if you want one, Raven Keep is the place to be. Thank you, Stray. Let's see. So yeah, God. I mean, I wonder how much this matters. You know, it matters in yeah, now that we don't have to match, I don't think we have to match alignment and God. That does give us a bit more flexibility. Pillager, barbaric, many orcs worship and live by the blood right. Yeah, that seems to go with his ancestry here. Ramlat. Okay, let's do that. Also gives us some variety in here. I know, like in Hackmaster, the healing you receive, I always like this in Hackmaster, that the healing you receive from a cleric can depend on a particular spell, can depend on the god that you worship. So if the depends on the god that you worship, and also whether or not you've been like inducted into the religion. Basically, if you've been like the equivalent of baptized. So if you are if the priest is healing you and you're the follower of a different religion, you might not get as much healing. Yeah, Jason says alignment is more to help GMs roleplay monsters anyways. It's overly loose guideline. It's a very loose guideline and sometimes taken way too seriously, especially when we're just talking about the chaotic, neutral, and lawful side of this. Okay, so let's go over here to ancestry. So we don't know what a goblin is yet. Green. Oh, goblins are green. Green, clever, beings who thrive in dark, cramped spaces. As fierce as they are tiny. You know the languages, common and goblin languages. So let's add that in. Yeah, halfling just knew common. Common and goblin. Common, I don't know how I've been doing this. Goblin. So it's become languages. And then our special ability, because we are goblin, is keen senses. You can't be surprised. All right, got that. Okay, now let's take a look at our thief skills. Make sure that we're current on that. We can use club, crossbow, dagger, short sword. So we're definitely going dagger again right here, because that's the finesse weapon. hit points 1d4. Backstab. So you hit a creature who is unaware of your attack. You deal an extra weapon die of damage, add additional weapon dice of damage equal to your level rounded down. And then thief skills, you are adept. You are trained in the following tasks and have advantage on any associated check: climbing, sneaking and hiding, applying disguises, finding and disabling traps, delicate tasks such as picking locks and opening locks. Okay, that sounds good right there. And then we also have free to carry tools of the thieving trade, because those are secreted on person, so that all looks good. Gold, he rolled 40 gold. And so he is taking this, the crawler's kit for 7, leather armor for 10, and then dagger and daggers. It's the same kind of thing. What is his strength? Oh, it's minimum 10 anyway, so it doesn't matter. So he's low strength, but he can still carry 10 things. Man, if you didn't, man, you would not be able to carry much of anything. So he's got the standard crawler's kit, outfitted very much like the halfling. So the crawler's kit has got so 40 minus 7 minus 10 for leather minus, how much is a dagger? A dagger is just 1 GP. So that's 21 gold left. See, he's still got 21 gold left too. 21 gold. And that's what he's got right over here. So now let's go over to his AC. His I don't think we recorded his HP. So he's got 5 HP. His AC will be 11 plus his Dex modifier, so he's 15. And then his attack bonus with his dagger is going to be +4. And we're going to make that +4 plus 4. D4 damage, properties finesse and thrown. And he's got 2 of those. All right. Is that... Oh, no, we need the name. I like this character. Let's see what the recommended goblin names are. We haven't rolled on that table yet. Character names. Goblin. Iggs. I kind of like Iggs. Iggs, Riggs, Prim, Zeb, Finn, Borg, Yark, Deeg, Nibs, Fink, Rizzo, Squid, Grix. How about Iggs, Iggs, and Deeg? Iggs or Deeg? That's fine. That's fine. So I'm glad we have the wild card with the goblin. I'm glad we have the wild card goblin character. Let's see. Now I'll have to do some that require more writing. I got to do this anyway, so I might as well do it on stream. So like next thing I got to do, then I got to make up the tokens. I got to get these, make sure that all of these character sheets are right. Then I need to make up the token icons for each one of these characters, which is going to take a little bit. And then I also need to make up some bad guy tokens. Let's see if anybody responded in the chat. On the Discord server. Oh, Common Dark Shadow. Okay, so somebody referred me to Common Shadowdark RPG rules questions. All right, so they said, Kelsey, this is posted by Kelsey, says, this brilliant list. Okay, well, actually, let me just pull this up. Let me say thank you to this person. Oh, wait, where did I? Oh. Oh, here it is. Thank you. We'll check it out. All right, let's check it out. Common Shadowdark questions. Okay. My process for making tokens, I've been using Midjourney for Midjourney to generate the actual imagery. So it's a lot of rolling stuff up in Midjourney, and then I just go over to Illustrator to crop them to the right size. So nothing too sophisticated. It just takes a while. Now, of course, not nearly, it's much faster, obviously, be able to do that with Midjourney, but nothing too. Yeah, so Robert says, so these are pre-rolled characters for the VTT? Yes. Sorry, I think I asked a similar question earlier this week by just seeking clarification. Yeah, that's my purpose here. So, like in Hero Quest, when you've got the heroes laid out for you at the table, or in Dragon Strike where all the heroes are laid out for you, I want you to be able to just sit down and have a selection of characters to play. So I'm going to put these characters into the VTT, so they're just sitting there with the tokens and their stats right there ready for you to play, so you can just pick one of them and bring them down into your hand. You can create your own if you want, but I want them to be ready for one shots or just sitting down. Hey, let's sit down and play. So I want these to be sitting there on the screen when you sit down at the VTT. And plus, they could also be used for dinner and a board game. I was talking to Brianna about that as well. So here's what they referred me to for common Shadowdark questions. So it's probably in here. So let's see. Here's what we got. Common Shadowdark rules questions posted by Kelsey. This is brilliant list was created by our resident head arcanist of rules interpretation and intent, Kiwi 4 Barbecue. Folks, another arcanist fell victim to mechanical assumptions based on prior experience with Shadowdark adjacent game systems and inquired about other gotchas. Stat modifiers are not added to weapon damage rolls. Okay, we knew that. Con modifiers only factored into level 1 hit points. Yeah, we knew that too. Yes. A 0th level character that becomes level 1 replaces their hit points entirely. Stat modifiers are based on 3rd edition D&D and onward. Stat scores are not capped at 18, but the modifiers don't increase beyond +4. Spell slots don't exist. You can continue to cast a spell for as long as you successfully roll to cast it. DC 10 plus tier. There is no combat grid in Shadowdark, and that's going to take some experimentation in the VTT to know the best way to run a combat, because you're not going grid by grid, you're not going step by step, you're not going square by square. So we're going to have to come up, we're going to have to experiment with that and figure out what the best way to do that is. A round is a round, be it crawling or combat. Effects with the duration of rounds interchange seamlessly. We're also going to have to work with that. Wizards can learn spells from spell scrolls of any spell tier. Wizards can cast any spell they know. Wizards don't need a spell book. Status effects and conditions are not defined. It's the game master's prerogative and duty to make fair rulings. Drinking a potion or using an item is part of your multitasking. It does not take your action. Spells with the duration of rounds can be ended early. It's the design intent they can be if the caster is still in control of the magic. You can cast another non-focus spell while you are focusing. Rolling a focus check does not take your action. You don't lose the ability to cast a focus spell if you fail the subsequent focus checks, unless you critically fail. You make a new focus check every time you take damage. There are no saving throws unless a spell or ability explicitly calls for a stat check to resist. There are no attacks of opportunity. Oh, there we go. Ranged weapons don't have a minimum attack range. Okay, so that's it. So you can use, you don't have to go to daggers at close range. So there we go. A very common question. I think we got most of this. So that is max range. Torches burn for 1 hour of real life. Oh, and then additional items are torch timer and rounds do not interact or intersect. Danger level is not dependent on torchlight. It only total darkness is deadly therefrom. Only total darkness is deadly therefrom. Dungeons and wilderness are least unsafe. Dungeons and wilderness are least unsafe. Game masters determine danger levels on the environment. Classes roll their talent level every odd level. Most classes get another benefit at even levels, other than hit points. So you only roll your talent on odd levels. I hadn't gotten into leveling up yet, so I didn't know that one, but that one's good. So you get a new talent on odd levels. We're also gonna have to figure out exactly what the best way to give out treasure is, and how much is expecting that. There are no built-in rules for delaying, holding, or readying actions. It falls on the game master to handle these types of actions. There is no built-in handling for trying to use out-of-class weapons and armor. It falls to the game master to handle any mechanical penalties. All right. Very useful. So why not average out the stats? What do you mean by average out the stats? The only thing that I'm really concerned about is the hit points. I may end up, for the purposes of the pre-generated characters, doing a little bit of increase the hit points a little bit for some of the people who rolled ones. But if you're talking about averaging out like our core attributes here, I don't want to do that. I like the fact that they were generated the way we generated them, but I may be misunderstanding. All right, so next up, Human Bard. Human. Oh, really? That's good to know. Sable Phoenix says, none of the pre-gen characters in Shadowdark backer kit have less than 2 hit points. Well, I might use that as the rationale then. Treasure rules on 269 seem pretty self-explanatory. Let's look those up. Well, okay, so let's look those up. I have not gotten into it. 269. So how much? Because I really want to be sure if a game's being run that you get that right. If it's something that you really have to delve into. 269. Okay, so here's what it says. It says treasure. So because treasure is the driving force behind character advancement, claiming treasure grants the characters XP and grants them valuable resources. Wandering monsters have only a 50% chance of carrying treasure. They are poor sources of XP and valuables. I like that because that way there's a cost. You're going to be spending resources fighting wandering monsters, and they're not going to give you anything. That's part of time, I think. Fleeting. Carousing allows PCs to gain XP fast, but they'll soon need to go adventuring again to replenish their empty pockets. Wealth is a fleeting prize. Treasure tables. You can use treasure tables, page 270, to randomly determine what loot a monster is carrying. The treasure table the monster uses corresponds to its level. For example, a second level monster uses the 0 to 3 table. So on page 270, so we do have, okay, so per monster, we've got treasure. Okay, so that's good. So we've got, if you're searching per monster, we do have treasure per monster on a D100 table. Okay, that's good. A GM can randomly generate unguarded treasure by rolling on the treasure table that matches the discovering character's level. For instance, a 6th level wizard finds a treasure chest. The wizard rolls on the treasure 4 to 6 table to determine what's inside. Dealing with loot, treasure typically occupies 1 gear slot. Coins occupy 1 slot per 100, but it said the first 100 coins are free. Characters can sell most treasure based on its material value, but they may need to find a curio collector to offload strange items. Okay, well, that's But like, how many treasure chests am I supposed to give them? All right, we'll have to work that out. If I only hadn't drop rolled the D8s, well, maybe I re-rolled a 7 for that ranger when I didn't drop roll it. Maybe I also pull the inner light rule. Robert says, if this is supposed to be plug and play, you might as well make the PCs more competitive. Yes, with at least a playable amount of HP. Oh, that's in Dungeon Generation. Okay, so it's there. I'm glad it's there. I haven't done a deep dive into that side because I just know that's something that I want to make sure is done right, because I don't want to bring in other assumptions just like that FAQ was talking about. Okay, so here we go, but this time we are talking. This is going to be the Bard. Name ancestry human. Class Bard. Background was banished. What's a good deity? So human Bard. What was I looking up? Oh yeah. So I need the Bard table. Bard and Ranger class. Our title for a Bard is Storyteller. That sounds pretty good. Why was he banished? I don't know, but it must have been something he was framed for. He is lawful, but or I don't know. Maybe he wasn't framed. We got 2 banished characters. Oh, background was banished. His title is Storyteller. All right. Okay, that's Ranger. Bard. Bards are welcome wanderers and wise advisors. It's their task to protect and share knowledge handed down through the ages. Weapons can be crossbow, dagger, mace, short bow, short sword, spear, and staff. So we might go short sword and spear for this guy. Armor, leather armor, chainmail, and shields. Hit points, D6 per level. Languages, 4 additional common languages as one rare language. So human gives us common by virtue of this. The common. Oh no, he knows a lot of languages. Man, this guy is going to be your language person. All right, let's get this sorted out here. Ord or Madeira. Yeah. Oh, here we go. So Ord, magic, knowledge, secrets, and equilibrium. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so let's do Ord. Okay, so, but no languages though. This is going to be a lot. It's going to be close to all of them. So page 32. So by virtue of being human, he knows common and 1 other language. So let's give him the common languages are, besides common, are Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Goblin, Mirran, Orcish, Reptilian, Sylvan, and Thalian. There's some of these that we have not used that it might be good to give to him. That way, our whole party, if you picked it, could potentially not have a whole lot of language problems. So let's say, but it seems like Elfish would be a good one for him to have. But then he gets 4 more languages. Shadowdark Maps is page 130. Oh, yeah. Danger level, site size, site type, room type, trap, monster mob, boss monster. Let's see. All right. He gets 4 more of these. I'm trying to look at a bunch of different things now. So he gets 4 more additional languages. So let's say, so Giant, Mirren, and Thalian would cover things that are not covered by other people. Elvish, Giant, Mirren, and Thalian. 2, 3, 4, 5. He still gets 1 more. If the dwarf is not with you, or Goblin and Orcish are 2 different ones. Let's say he speaks Orcish, because he might be the only one who speaks Orcish. Common, Elvish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's a lot of languages. Bardic Arts. Bardic Arts. You've trained in oration, performing, lore, and diplomacy. You have advantage on those related checks. All right, you have advantage on related checks. So what's my spot size right here? 11. Okay, so all right. Magical Dabbler. You can activate spell scrolls and wands using charisma as your spellcasting stat. If you critically fail, roll a wizard mishap. This is the time-consuming part. Magic Dabbler. I've been using the colons. She uses the period. Oh, hey, PH. Yeah, we're going long today, so welcome. Bardic Arts, Magic Dabbler. Okay. No. Okay, what's next? He's got a lot of stuff. Presence. Presence and prolific. Can I put all this stuff in here? Presence and prolific. but I feel like it needs to be. Bold and then prolific. Tell you what, we will italicize, inspire, and fascinate. Seems like a good class. Yeah, there's a lot of text though. Well, I'll work on getting all that right later. So I'll get all that in there. But let's take a look at his language. I'm going to have to go through and clean all these up anyway before I export them this afternoon. But you don't have to watch all that. Let's see. I probably can too. Bardic arts. You have advantage on checks related to yeah, that's yes. Because that's telling you the real meat of this. You have advantage on oration, performing arts, yeah, something like that. That helps. So yeah, I'll sort through that. I gotta polish up all these characters before they're exported anyway, but they're in here. Have I been able to check the MCDM demonstration? I have not. I have not been able to look at that. Yesterday, all I did was basically talk to Brianna. Oh, well, talk to Brianna and then prep for the Watchmen last night. So I have not gotten to look at it at all. Yes. Okay. So they're talents. So we also have to take a look at that. So the talents that were rolled for the human bard were reduce. So talent 1, reduce DCs of presence by 3. And we will say that's included. So I'll correct that up in the top. That's strong. I mean, that's strong. So actually, this is going to be Inspire on DC 9. I think giving out those luck tokens is going to be big. And then Fascinate on DC 12. Talent. So talent 2 was increase the stats. Talent 2 increase, let's see, +1 strength. We did +1 strength and +1 charisma. Wasn't that right? Yeah, charisma. Oh, CHA. And those are also included. So I got to put that in there as well. But that's what his talents were. Or her talents. Either we're making these so they can be either one. That's why got 2 different names. Okay, so that was the talents. Now, he's got 50 gold coins. Let's give him a crawler's kit. What is his carrying capacity? Carrying capacity is 11. So flint, steel, torch. I think short bow seems to work here. And a spear with leather armor. So leather armor will be 10. Oh, he'll also need to take arrows then. Oh, we haven't done the stats yet. No, we haven't been over here and recorrected. We have not looked at the stats here. No, you're right. I have not done any of my stats. I went right over to the talents and spells. So the human bard, we have not corrected the stats yet. So the stats, those were left over from where we copied it. Good call. Thank you, Innerlight. So the human bard has 14 strength, has 10 dex. He's like, he does not have 8. 18 dex. So here we go. So he's got a +2 strength. Dex of +10, 10 plus 0. Con of 14. And that gave him, so +2 to con. +2. Intelligence is 10, which is +0. Wisdom was 12 for a +1. And then charisma is 14. So that's a +2. So that's right. So strength 14, dex 10, con 14, int 10, 12, 14. Now we're right over there. I just hadn't gotten to that yet. But yes, that's important. I had forgotten though. So that takes care of, see, HP was 8. Make sure we increase that. HP is 8. And we got to do his AC and his attacks based on his equipment. So if he has leather armor, a short bow, he's going to need arrows. And a spear. That gives him one space to carry more treasure out. They're probably going to be dropping a lot of stuff. Like, we don't need this flint and steel. We can buy more flint and steel. Or we're out of the dungeon now. No grappling hook, I guess. And somebody needs flint and steel. Like, oh, we don't all need to be carrying flint and steel. We need to be carrying another 100 gold coins home. So how much is all of that? So a short bow. Actually, I think this is in the front of the book. It is. Front of the book. That's easier for me to reference here. So short bow is 6. Leather armor 10. No, spear is 5. Oh, 5 SP. Oh, spears are cheap. Was it 1 gold for some arrows? No, yeah, 1 gold for an arrow. Or 20 arrows. So 1 gold. So how much gold does he have left? So he's got leather armor, short bow, arrows, and spear. That's why you said he can carry up to 14 items. Yes, thank you. As I was doing this, I did this out of order. Thank you so much, Inner Light. Keeping me straight as I've been doing all this. Backpack. So he can carry a lot. So that's good. The bard may be carrying a bunch of treasure home. Is there something else the bard needs to have? I don't really think so. We're not doing like weapon breakage and things by the rules, so it's not like people have to worry about their spear breaking all the time. But it does save time. I'm gonna go through and look at all of these characters again, but saves. It's good to have more than one pair of eyes looking at this as we go. He doesn't need one. So when Kelsey was designing this, I was watching the design blog, design vlog, the live stream. And it was a deliberate decision that they don't have to have an instrument. So you can carry one if you want to, but none of this is based on their ability to carry an instrument. And that was part of the Celtic influence because so much is based on voice and poetry. So let's go with that. So I was trying to look up my cost over here. So we got, we said he's got 50 gold coins. He's got a crawler's kit. He's got a short bow. He's got a spear. He's got leather armor, and he's got arrows. So he has 26 gold left and 5 silver pieces. So now he's wearing leather armor, so that's 11 plus his dex modifier. Oh, so he is low on AC. Oh, iron spikes got. Oh, that's copied out. Iron spikes. Yes. Okay. So I copied over from the elf. Excellent. Rope. So I'll put spear over here. I didn't pay attention to who I copied from. Iron spikes. 10. I feel like a lot of the inventory is going to need to be tracked by cards or something. We're just going to have to look at that when we look at the VTT because the torches are tracked. The torches are consumable. So I've got little tokens to track them. And the rations as well. But it may be that all of our equipment needs to be done by cards. And that way you can just look at it and look at the cards in your hand and determine your inventory. Because I bet that your inventory is going to change things up quite a bit. I like physical things. Of course, this is a digital physical thing, but I like digital physical things. So I have to think about that. I want to get this done, but I also want it to be really easily playable. Okay, so let's this attack becomes spear right over here. So what does our spear do for us? Our strength is +2, so we're going to get a +2 bonus, but spears are also thrown. So that's +2 +2. Type MR, yep, CN D6, and it's just thrown. It's a shame you can't do the You'd have to do weapons, but you won't be able to reference the weapon. On a card because it's going to change based on your attack bonus. I have to think about this. Okay, this is short bow. I want this to be as easily playable online as possible. So the short bow is type R. So his the attack bonus would be +0. Because he doesn't have any type of something that's special that's going to make his ranged better. It is ranged far. It's damage D4. And it's two-handed. Okay, let's check the goblin thief. Does the goblin thief have iron spikes? I think I copied iron spikes. Yes. Okay. Iron spikes are there because I copied the thief over. I didn't have any let's just say 10. Yeah, I may have to make equipment cards. We'll see. Okay. So is that it? That's it for him, except for I got to clean up his talent. Oh, I need to look at names. We need some good Celtic sounding names. So look, I got the AD&D Celtic source book right here. Let's take a look. Of characters in combat. Maybe it is on page 14. Here we go. Adark. Adark or I want something pronounceable. Ide. How about Adark or Ide? Oh, Mike says Orla and Oberon. Adira. Oh, I like that. I like that. What about yeah, then Adira, Adark or Adira. That was they sound pretty much the same. All right, I like that. Okay, let me save that. I'll do formatting later. What is going on? I'm going to stick that on top, so it's obviously wrong when I see it again. So, all right, so that gives us one more to go. Whew. This is taking longer than I was expecting, but I got one more to go. This is the Aragorn, the Human Ranger. So I'm going to duplicate the Bard because we just got him worked out. I got Corvenin. Actually, that could be a good Ranger name. How about for a Ranger name, Corvenin or Cavenna? Corvenna. Hey, Tomocrat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Epic morning grind live stream this morning. Corvin or Corvina. All right, let's put in the stats first because that way we don't forget that. So strength. I looked at 6 and I was like, oh my god, what did we do? So we went strength 16. So this guy needs to be predominantly a melee fighter. If we've got some ranged people, so this will be a predominantly melee guy. 10 con 10. Although I think he should have a short bow with him, if he can. For hunting and stuff, 16, 9, 10, 8, 12, 10. So 16 is plus 3. I always like to 16 plus 3, 9 is minus 1. Con 10 is plus 0. Intelligence -1. It's kind of a brutish ranger. Wisdom of 12, so that's plus 1. Charisma of 10 plus 0. So is that right? Let me check all these stats. Strength 16. Dex 9. Con 10. Int 8. Wisdom 12. Charisma 10. Okay, got it. So here is our controversial HP 1. Or it could be 7. Because that was when I shook it, that's what I rolled. So he is attacks. We'll do that later. He is human. This is human ranger. XP 1, 1 of 10. This was wanderer. Background orphaned. Right here. Oh, did I have a minus? Oh, yeah, did it again. Minus 1. Okay. Thank you. What's a good god for him? What was Ord? So this is the rangery type. No. So Ord doesn't work for him. Ord was the mystic and magic. There is one that's Feast, Mirth, and the Wilds. And the Wilds, yeah. So Geed, yeah. So of the Wilds. All right. So I believe that's everything here in the middle. All right. Now let's go down here. So this is human. So human gets 2 rolls. Human knows common and Elvish. I think what I will do then, or Madeira if he's vengeful, extremely lawful. Oh, I kind of like that. Oh. Actually, I think what we should do is we should give this one. This guy seems like common and elvish. And then let's go over here to the bard and turn his elvish into dwarvish because he didn't get to speak. That way we have 2 potential ways to be speaking dwarvish. Or we're not doubling up on elvish. Common and dwarvish, we'll send that to the bard. That kind of makes sense, I think, for like the Celtic kind of feel. I guess either could. Oh, wait, what did I just do? So language is that's the bard. But then for now, this is human ranger. Got to keep everything organized. Okay, there we go. So this be common and elvish. There we go. Now I think I'm set back up because that's human. So for human, you get, yes, common and one additional language, and we get our second talent roll. So that's what we got over here. Now we go to ranger, which is in our preview over here. Weapons are dagger, longbow, longsword, short bow, short spear, staff. So I think he should have a sword and then maybe a short bow. He'd be wearing leather armor. Okay, Wayfinder. Wayfinder, you have advantage on checks associated with navigation. Try to clean this up. Navigation, tracking, bushcraft, stealth, and wild animals. Okay. And then the next big thing that he's got is this herbalism right here. And the herbalism is pretty cool. Here, I'll bring this up so you can see it. It's a lot of text. So let's decide how we're going to deal with this. But the herbalism, well, herbalism, make an intelligence check to prepare an herbal remedy of your choice. There we go. Make an int check to prepare an herbal remedy of your choice. If you fail, you can't make that remedy again until you successfully rest. Unused remedies expire in 3 rounds. Herbal remedy is DC 11, a salve, which will heal 1 hit point. DC 12 is a stimulant. You can't be surprised for 10 rounds. DC 13 is Foe Bane. You get advantage on checks and creatures against one creature type you choose for 1d6 rounds. DC 14 is Restorative, ends one poison or disease. And DC 15 is Curative, equivalent to a potion of healing. It would be nice for the player to not have to reference something else. Maybe it needs to be, but that's a lot of stuff to put here, though. Oh my God. I'll format later. But then also down here, I'll have to come up with a way to put in the herbalism. Could be on a separate card. But then we also have talent 1, which was +2 strength, which was included. And then talent 2, which is +1 attack and +1 damage. Wait, what specifically did we roll? +1 attack and +1 damage with probably melee or, oh, let me, well, I got it up right here. +1 to melee or ranged. Yeah, so that's what we picked. So we were doing melee. The sheet and data do look a bit off. Wait, what do you mean? If you're talking about the blurriness of the actual sheet that's behind it, I want to see if I can fix that. Let's see. +1 attack, +1 to melee, attack, and damage. And that's also included. So we'll make sure we include that when we're talking about what he's doing here. All right, so that's what we've got. He's got a crawler's kit. So he rolled 60 gold coins. He's got lots of gold coins. He rolled max gold coins. So he can get flint and steel. He'll get all of his crawler's kit. He'll get leather armor. He needs to get a long sword. Long sword. Short bow and arrows. Is there anything else he's going to need? So how much is all of that? So crawler's kit, as usual, is 7. Short bow was 5. Arrows was 1. So the question then was, how much is a long sword? And long swords are 9. $60 minus 7 minus 5 minus 1 minus 9. 38 gold coins. James says, so the class has more info to do. The class has more info to do on size of the page. Oh, yeah. So so there seems to be more info to put in there. Of course, you could just put like Wayfinder and put the page number, but I'm trying to give the players the reference here. James says, honestly, I'm having a hard time with the failed herbal remedies requiring a rest to attempt again. Seems arbitrary. It does seem a bit arbitrary, but it had to do, if you watch the Ranger being made, with making it something like spells. So that makes it spell-like, that once you fail, because if you fail a spell, you can't cast it again until you rest. So, I guess it's like going to another location or something, assuming you're on the move. You it makes less sense if you can search again the next day. John asks about water skins. I looked up water skins early in this, and there are none. So an advantage of this is that rations are 1 day of food and water. So the rations are food and water inclusive. So that's good, because I was like, what type of consumable items are being used here? Did I need tokens for both food and water? And I don't. I just need rations. So rations are food and water for the day. So that's good. He is strength 16, so he can. So he is a beast. So he can carry. He'll also be carrying a bunch of stuff out. So he's wearing leather armor. So that's 11 plus. Oh, he's only AC 10. He needs to, so that's a good reason for him to get mail as well. They can use shields. Oh, wait a minute. So let's look up. Let me go back over, because we were trying to decide. I remember I was watching on the design stream as to whether or not the Ranger should be able to use a bastard sword. Ranger, dagger, longbow, longsword, short bow, short spear, short sword, spear, and staff. So no, I would give him a bastard sword. That way you go one-handed or two-handed. Oh, no, he cannot. No, he cannot. He cannot use a shield either. He cannot use a shield. He can wear leather armor and chainmail. So he needs to get chainmail. So he cannot use a shield. So he's just going to be the longsword guy in combat. So short bow, his attack bonus, man, his attack bonus is going to be -1 with the short bow. It was the bard that could use the shield. Yeah, John says, yeah, if it's based on Aragorn, he never uses a shield in the books or in the film. Well, I did not see the development of the Ranger class, but I wonder what the rationale was behind making herbal remedies spell-like. She didn't want it to be spammed. That's the term that she used. She didn't want that to be spammed with people rolling over and over again. She was very careful about what the different herbal remedies were. One of the ways that she would started off by trying to limit, hey, I'm just going to roll, I'm going to roll, I'm going to roll, I'm going to roll, was some of the things could have been bad for you. Like originally, that one of the ideas was that there was like a 50-50 chance that it hurt you or harmed you, or maybe they weren't effective, but that got dropped in favor of limiting the number of times you can roll. John says, seems silly, though. I would let Rangers use a shield. It's pretty ubiquitous tool for any warrior. Yeah, you have to put some kind of restriction on usage items, or it'll always succeed after a bunch of rolls. And I do think we're trying to do more with time here as well. So you can't just search all day. Probably. So this is the longsword. Let's put in here the longsword. So the attack bonus is going to be +3. There's no range here. Plus, not 23, just 3. Longsword is medium. And C. And damage is D8. And there are no associated properties. John says, I think you get 1d4 attempts in a day. Roll more dice. It's fun. Maybe 1d4 plus 1 or 2 or 3 as you level up. Sable says the alternative would be to make it usable a number of times per day, determined by a d4 or d6 after a successful naturalism check to find actual herbs. Yeah. You could do that too. James says, I think I like that better than the limit. Mixing it incorrectly would compound the problem, requiring more successes in the short term to cure what they originally had, and then what you just gave them. PH says, I don't remember if there's a game that does that, but I remember something like taking the potion or remedy and then the ranger taking a test to see if the result to see the result and its consequences. Okay, so I got to do some formatting here, and I'm going to look at all of them. But phew, I'm exhausted. I did not plan on spending nearly this much time doing the characters for this, but I think it should be fun. So now we'll actually have to play it. We're actually going to have to use all this. Definitely have to do a morning, a dinner to board game as well. All right. So I think does that make everything look right for the Ranger? Is that what you guys are seeing make it look right for the Ranger? All right. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm going to go get something to eat, and then we'll take a look tomorrow at the actual at the VTT and try to build that out, because I'm obsessed doing obsessive attack on things. I'm going to get this ready. I'm going to work on the tokens and things like this. Export these, work on tokens, and then see if I need to have equipment cards. We will see. But I had so much fun. Thank you guys for being with me, especially everybody who's lasted. Please hit the like button. If you're here and you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. It's been a lot of fun. All right, I will see everybody tomorrow. Later. Grind on.